This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. If you remember yesterday's show, really good show. I can't believe that I was able to pull that off, especially in today's day and age where everybody is somewhere different, doing something different, crazy schedules. I was able to get Jake Lawrence and Jacob Wheeler on the show for a full hour, fresh off of what I thought about it more after. Like, I titled it, I'm not into clickbait titles. Hell, I don't even do like pictures or titles for any of the shows, which probably should work on that in the future. But I titled it the most exciting finish. I don't even remember what I titled it. Something along the lines of, was this the most exciting finish in professional tournament history? And after talking with Jake Lawrence and after talking with Jacob Wheeler and having the video footage and having the countdown clock and watching how it went down for the rookie to have it, I think I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go with yes. Now, was it the most impactful? No, I think that the three-way 2-pounder that Bobby Lane had on Grand Lake in that last minute to win it, I mean, that was a championship event. That was Redcrest to win Redcrest. So, but as far as like an excitement standpoint, bar none. And we're getting into a really cool time of the year. We have heavy hitters coming up on Smith Mountain Lake. And if you're fairly new to following professional bass fishing, Smith Mountain is a really, really cool lake. And you are going to see guys doing a lot of really, really cool stuff on Smith Mountain Lake to try to catch big largemouth, big smallmouth. You can do so many things on Smith Mountain out there in Virginia. Used to travel and cover when the Bassmaster Elite Series was there, and it was one of my favorite stops to cover. I remember Casey Ashley won there in his rookie season. I remember guys caught him big swim baits, bed fishing, jerk baits, cranking, swim baits, all sorts of different stuff. So it'll be interesting to see that. And then obviously you can't forget Bassmaster Elite Series on Lake Fork. It's been a little bit, this is a kind of a standard stop for the Elite Series now. Sometimes it's a regular season event. Sometimes it's a Toyota Texas Fest kind of deal there, but catchway, release, best five, and then you bring your biggest one in, which I think is a really cool way to do that, especially with as much effort that Texas Parks and Wildlife puts into their share lunker program and their big bass, and how they've done such a great job of kind of cultivating trophy fisheries throughout the state using genetics. So looking forward to that. But I say all that to say this. So we had Jake Lawrence and Jacob Wheeler on, and then I kept Jacob a little bit after because shockingly, he's leading angler of the year again. Got Drew Gill kind of close on his heels. I say that facetiously, not shockingly. Pretty much has led angler of the year for the last 5 years. But we were scrolling through some of the names on the angler of the year list with this new format of MLF with only one period of the forward facing and 2 periods without. And some names stuck out to me, like Ron Nelson and Brent Ayler and Mark Davis and Ott Defo, Wesley Strader, Todd Faircloth, Terry Scroggins, Takahiro Omori, Brett Chapman, all guys that are in the top 30, very established veteran tour pros, but have not in the last couple of years been towards the top of the angler of the year standings. You take Brent Ayler out of that, but I didn't mention one of those guys, and that's because sitting in 13th place in 2025 on the BPT is the man, the myth, the legend, Dean Rojas. Thanks for jumping on BTL, Dino.
Good morning, Matt. Great to be here, as always. Always enjoy doing your show. A little early here out here on the West Coast, but nothing that a cup of coffee will not.
Yeah. I mean, BTL's worth waking up a little bit early for. You had to be you. It's the one Bass Havasu Open going on right now, right?
Yes, yes, it
And
is.
there's
The
some people
timing of
staying
it,
at your house, so you didn't wake up and make waffles and coffee and wish them well as they headed to the lake?
no, I cooked them dinner last 2 nights, so
Oh, okay.
that kind of makes up
That's
for it,
fair.
you know.
Grilling?
But
Were you
no,
grilling on the back patio?
oh yeah, yeah, we grilled last night and then the night before that as well. So Ish Monroe staying here. Ish and I are longtime friends. I mean, like we would travel, like we would pair up when we had to go back east back in the old days in the late '90s and 2000s. So he'd be coming through California. He'd stay at my house, and then we'd go together, and then go to Potomac or Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, it didn't wherever we were going, just driving. Back then, we just drove. I mean, we had one tournament a month, and it was the Bassmasters deal. Entry fees were like $1,500 back then, for the tour level, and then how things have changed on all that. But just good time friends throughout the years, and our paths just kind of go in and out. He's fishing bass, and he was with MLF, and just kind of everything. But all in all, always good friends, and just one of those guys where you can call, and he's going to be right there for you. So. Good
Was
stuff.
there a group of West Coast guys who went east before your group? I know Gary Klein was original out west, but was there like a core group besides, I'm thinking you, Ish, Aaron, a couple different guys that were in that. Was that kind of the first like wave of West Coast guys outside of kind of one-off guys who made the move?
No, there's a lot of guys
John
before
Murray.
me that I was going to say John Murray was the one that went back there and competed. What was the BP 100, top 100 back then, and so he fished, he competed that and came back and forth. But John was the king of the West. I mean, he still has the record. He won like 27 boats out here. So it's like when they used to give a boat away for a tournament win on a pro-am, a regional deal. But and then he went back there and it was. He did well on a few of them, but not as well. And then he came back, and then it was when Ray Scott created the whole thing about opening up the West and starting an invitational deal out here on the West Coast. And I knew right then and there the timing was right, because if it did, I was going to move out to Texas. I was going to move east because I wanted to follow my dream. And then when Ray Scott brought it out here, then I could fish the 3, invitationals, and you had to finish in the top 25, and then you would qualify for the top 150, which is they expanded the field to bring in, extra guys to fish the tour level. And that's where Ish, Skeet, and myself,
Byron Velvick.
which are the stalemates. I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, there was a lot of guys that
That's what we do on this show, Dean. We go on and on, so feel free to go on and on.
On names
that's the beauty of the podcast.
I know. Robert Lee, remember Robert Lee, the king of the
Delta?
I
do. Yep.
Yeah, he came on out, and there was a lot of them that I mean, when we first went, there was probably about 12. Now, Aaron did not make it the first year because he had a rule infraction and got DQ'd in one of the events on the first year. But then he did it the next year and then qualified. So he came a year after Skeet and Ish and I were already there. And then, had a fabulous career, obviously, on all that. So, boy, this is going back.
So the top 150s back in the day were the equivalent of the Elite Series then?
Yes.
That was the top level of Bassmaster. So like I'm looking at your stats here. So you have California Invitational, Arizona Invitational on Powell, Havasu, New Mexico, and you went 11th, 1163rd, 40. I mean, these are big, giant fields. There's a Washington Invitational, and then boom, you started fishing the top 150. So you basically went through the opens of the West to get your invite to the top 150s, and then it was off and running until
And that was so exciting, to do all that. And I remember each one of those first 3 events. Was it 3 or 4? I don't remember. But I remember the fish catches. They're like burned in my mind because those were the events that solidified me to qualify for the Bassmaster. The top level at that time of the 150. I was going up against Rick Klein and Gary Klein, all these Larry Nixon, Denny Brown. You go on and on with the names, and it was just so awesome. That I knew that I was going to, be able to compete with those guys in the upcoming year. And I didn't care if I had to drive all the way across country back and forth. It didn't really matter to me. because I had a shot of achieving my goal, and that was to be a professional bass fisherman. And I was there, And then, obviously the first event that we had, I'll never forget, was the Potomac River. And back then they would start the season in the fall, and then they would roll in and they would finish up in the spring, and then we'd have the classic, in the summertime. And so I remember, like, the first tournament was the Potomac River. Okay, you couldn't pick a further place than on the East Coast from where I live right now, currently here in Havasu. And it took me like 3 days to get there, 3.5 days to get there. Okay, and I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm going. Back then, you can get a little bit of help, and stuff. So and the maps, we had satellite maps. I mean, it was so old school. We had no Google Earth, no nothing.
Yeah.
You had to look up maps and try to figure out things and draw lines and so forth and fish this area, And anyways, I got there, and I'll never forget the first day I had like 12 pounds, and I didn't care because all I wanted to do was catch a limit. And I was sitting in 45th place. I remember walking up there, and I'm standing in front of Larry Nixon and Denny Brower. I mean, you got to understand, I've never seen these people in person ever, and to be around them at that time, at that age. And so I was so impactful back then. I was so impressed because of the character and their stature, of just how they are, their presence,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that surrounded them and corralled them, when they're superstars of the sport back then. I mean, it was just neat to watch because nobody knew who I was, but I was just sitting here and it hit me, and I'm like, I'm here competing against the best, in the world. And after looking at the day one sheet and looking at the guys who were behind me, and I'm just like, oh my God, Dean, you can do this, man. You can do this, and so the mileage and all that stuff and everything was so new, the big stage, all the stuff that Bass was flamboyant, and all that stuff that they did, it just created this whole aura about, living my dream, and
Mm-hmm.
and it was coming true right in front of my eyes, and and I'll never forget it. So that tournament, I finished in the top 40, and I got a check.
So you finished 19th.
I finished 19th.
Yeah, you got $4,000.
Oh, they paid down
Maryland top one.
$4,000. Yes. Yep. So Matt, I left there at Friday at 6 o'clock after I got my check and my plaque. Okay, and I drove straight home from there, and I got here Sunday at noon. I drove all night, all day, and I was like seeing like pink elephants and orange giraffes running across the desert. I was pumped up on Mountain Dew and M&Ms. But every time I got tired, I looked over at that $4,000 check and that plaque, and I was just like charged up again, and just I was just so excited. Just great stuff, man. Just great, man.
I was looking at did you have any sponsors at that time? Like, what was your first paying sponsor? Because that was only like 4 tournaments in on that on the West Coast. I mean, like, you're a sponsor guy now. Like, you have iconic sponsorships. You've developed quite a brand. But what was your first, like, hey, oh my God, they wrote a check?
Gamakatsu,
No way.
believe it or not, was yes. Gamakatsu was my first paying check. Yes, and it happened when I wasn't even fishing pro. I was just a regional guy here on the West Coast. I was fishing, wombasses and USO, all the stuff out here and stuff. And I remember I was doing a sports show there in Long Beach, California, which is they have a big one there, and then one in San Diego as well. Anyways, Bob Funk was the guy's name, and Bill Matthews were the two. They were out of Tacoma, Washington, up there where the headquarters for West Coast Gamakatsu's at. Anyways. Yeah. And I got introduced through a friend and a great friend, John Cassidy, and that whole thing. They were like, we really like what you're doing, and and I was getting a lot of local pictures and hats and stuff, and then it was like, hey man, and I'm asking because I need funding, and I'm like, you got anything, anything will help, and they go, okay, well, give me your resume, and I gave them the resume, and I called them like 3 days later. As they flew home and stuff, and they go, yeah, we can do something, Dean. How does $200 a month sound? And I said, $200? Heck yeah! I'll do anything you want for $200, a month, for a sponsorship, and all the hooks I want. Are you kidding me? Heck yeah! Back then, how Gamakatsus are, they're the best, and You know, they're pricey at times, but you know what you're getting, and it's the best. So that aside from, I mean, I'm talking like a Gamakatsu, you know, stamped on the check, you know, Gamakatsu USA. You know, it's $200, Dean Rojas, you know.
Yeah.
So that was my first check, and that was probably when I was 20, about 20 or 21.
So you've been with
21 years old, I
Gamakatsu
think.
for what?
Was my
like
first
30
one.
years?
Yeah, my whole life. Well, yeah, we had a stint there where they let me go, and then for a year or two, and then the classic happened at Wiley about the frog.
Yeah.
And then Spro was there at that time. It was their bait company, and they were really struggling and everything. And Tim Norman was heading that whole operation. And I knew after that classic, I needed to. I got a lot of offers from a lot of frog companies, but
because you at the time were you throwing the sumo?
The sumo frog. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was like in practice. But the one you saw at Wiley was the actual bronzeye. I mean, that was the prototype of the bronzeye. Or no,
so
no,
that
it was a sumo. Excuse me, you're right. The sumo.
Yeah, that was
right,
the sumo
right.
then,
Sumo
but
frog.
then that's what led to the bronzeye.
Yeah, so I waited, and then I got a phone call from Spro, again from John Cat. There was some stuff going on that was helping me on the inside get this deal, but they wanted to design a frog, and they wanted to be the best. And I told them, I said, look, I want to design my own thing. They like, Dean, you could have whatever you want, all the resources you want, but you're coming back to Gamakatsu. And I go, that's awesome. To me, that's great. But it's East Coast, so Spro. There's a dividing line in the states where Spro is Spro Gamakatsu is the East Coast, and then you have Tacoma Gamakatsu, which is the West Coast. Okay, so two different entities, but still under the same umbrella of Gamakatsu as a brand. So I got hired through the Spro side to go ahead and to develop the frog. And then, I have the drawings and stuff, the original drawings in my cabinet right here, a couple of the prototypes that we did. It took 15 months. I mean, there was no CAD drawings back then. You know what I mean? You couldn't just like 3D print the thing. Yeah, you had to like draw it up and measure but they had the hook. They had the right hook. And they had the hook that I wanted. And I built the bait around the hook. And it took 15 months before we came to market with it. I had prototypes within about 8 months. 7 months into it, but and then we just made it better, and then all of a sudden, we come out and we've been best of soft plastic at ICAST with it, and just all this the hype around the frog at that time, and so it's been and Gamakatsu has been like my longest sponsor ever. And back then I had Skeeter, Yamaha were my boat brands, Motor Guide, Quantum. That was all part of that whole deal there. And then you pick up a couple like car dealerships and stuff. I had a really good friend in San Diego who helped me out very early on, financially to fish some of the tournaments and so forth. But not a sponsor. I mean, a sponsor, yes, but like a friend. Like just wanted to help. You know what I mean? And so there's just so many people that have helped me along the way to this journey to where I am at today, and I'm so grateful, so just humble and grateful for them allowing me to stay at their house, or help me with this or help me with that. It's so hard from the West Coast going to the East Coast. It's a lot easier now. I know what to do and expect, but back then, I mean, you don't know anybody. There's no social media.
Yeah.
We barely had cell phones back then, so there's no texting, all that. So it's just different.
I'm looking at the standings here. Was your record win with the 45 and the 108-12, was that your first major win with bass?
Yes.
Like I'm looking at, I didn't realize that was your first, dude. And then I also didn't realize what happened after that. Like you went first, fourth, third. I don't know what the hell happened at the California Invitational. Zeroed that one. But then second in Megabucks, then top 10 to Classic. Yeah. So if you take that out, you had consecutive finishes of first, fourth, third, second, and 10th in a top 150, an Invitational, Megabucks, and the Classic. And before that, your biggest check that you had cashed in Bassmaster competition was like $6,000. And then in that 5 tournaments, you went 110, 110, 28, and 76 with a 5 and a 4 in there. Like that was I didn't realize that all happened. Like you talk about like, hey, what's the best like streaks? You talk about Kevin. You talk about how Ski had 5 top 10 or 5 top 5s in a row. Mark Davis had a run like that. Denny Browers had a run like that. But I never included you in it. That's like one of the best major runs in the history.
Yeah, at that time, if you look at my standings where I was at before the Florida event, I was in 114th place. I'll never forget this because it's part of my story. Like when I do the world record story, it's like an hour and a half. I mean, and I go into detail about my life and where I'm at standing wise, and and I've been on tour for a couple years, and it's not working. It's working, but it's not.
81st, 118th, 87th, 0. Like, I mean, you're fishing. You anyway. You're relying on that $200 a month from Spro at that point.
I'm just barely getting by. And then so like it's up until that point, and then when I found those fish, and we'll do that. We'll talk about it all, but I'll just kind of briefly run it over.
We don't have to go into that now. I was just saying, yeah. But you got to understand where I was at, and like and Aaron was there, and we were fishing the same area, and I knew exactly what he was doing, and those fish just moved up, and it was the most spectacular thing I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some really good ones. I mean, Santee, just awesome watching those big fish roll in just out of nowhere. It was something that you just like. It was perfect. Yeah, I didn't know you won the next
Everything
one. Everything
about that event was.
You
perfect.
won the next top 150 right after.
So after that,
the record.
Yeah, so after I did that, the record deal, and then so the mount that you see behind me, I don't know if you can see that. It's part of
you can see it.
So the week after I broke the record, they were like, they called me, and they were Lake Fork Taxidermy, and they're like, hey man, and I said, I want to do a mount of it, the 45 too, and they're like, okay, no problem, we'll get right on it, and I had no idea that they were going to have it done that quickly. And so, I mean, they're all replicas, but it's all the same measurements and same thing of the fish and everything. But when I was at Toledo, and again, all I want to do is just I won the big event. I achieved one of my big goals, and having the big plaque of the Bassmasters at the top tour level. And then at that point, I'm just like, hey, I just want to get back on the points. Where can I go just to catch 15 pounds a day, whatever it is. So I stumble on an area, and the water came up, and then it just I can't even explain it, Matt. It's just when it happens, it just goes, and you're just along for the ride. Okay, you just go through the motions of just and just catching the bass and winning. And Takahiro, that was one of the first times we battled it out, because he was leading going that day, and I had to beat him. Ben Matsubu was catching him down by the dam. I remember that. And then I caught it like 22 pounds or 21 pounds the second day. Or the last day, and beat Takahiro by like about a pound, and then that was it. That was the back-to-back. I couldn't believe it. I won another boat, and I won another big check, and and then all of a sudden here they come with the mount on back. They bring the whole thing up on stage, and it was just iconic. It was just a and when you're fishing like that and the momentum, it's all about momentum, and it just when you rolls, you just roll. Whatever you do, wherever you go, it's the right thing. And you're always searching for it. You're always waiting for it to happen, and you always wonder if it's ever going to happen again. I mean, it's constantly, because it's the grind, Matt. It's like every year, every tournament, every competition. The practice days, the lightnings, the storms, the wind. All of the stuff that you have to deal with out on the water, and it's hard. And then dealing with just all your stuff about life. And as I'm getting older, my kids are older. Everything's changing and evolving and stuff. And I mean, it's all good. It's just a lot. And it's just, I still love it. I love it. I'm not ready to go yet. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want it really bad. I want to do well. I want to make the top 50 next year. That's my goal. It's my mission. And so like that's where we're at right now, and just cool stuff, man.
That's an excellent segue, because that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about the Bass Pro Tour, currently sitting in 13th this year. But, I mean, you're really fishing for something. So what I want to do is I want to take our first break of the show. When we come back, we'll jump ahead 20 years, a quarter of a century, and we'll talk about, because I want you to rack your brain on this. You have done something in 2025 in your 7th year on the BPT. You have done something in 2025 that you have not done before on the Bass Pro Tour. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll see if you know what that is. It's BTL on a Wednesday, May 7th, with Bass Pro Tour angler, record holder, Dean Rojas. We'll be back right after this. Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit ProBassAdventures.com or email ProBassAdventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live.
This is Gamakatsu's new Nano Alpha line of hooks. If it looks familiar, that's because they are. It's the same shapes and sizes in the round bend and the EWG and in the new Horizon head that you know and love from Gamakatsu. But there are a couple new features with this Nano Alpha, which is this little green label that you see on the packaging. First off, 2 times faster hook penetration. That's because of the Nano Alpha smooth coating on it. And also it is 4 times more corrosion resistant. Check it out, Nano Alpha.
I've been using Sunline Shooter for the majority of my career. Millions of dollars made, lots of bass caught, and the gnarly, gnarly stuff. If you need a abrasion resistant, tough fishing line for the really, really mean stuff, Sunline Shooter is for you.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top unarmed, Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Hi, welcome back, BTL, on a Wednesday, talking with Dean Rojas. And before we took our break, I posed a trivia question to Dean. Something that you have already done in 2025 that you have not done in any of the 6 previous seasons, starting in 2019, competing on the Bass Pro Tour and regular season competition. Do you have any idea what that is, Dina?
I don't have a top 10 yet.
No, that's not it.
No,
it's
I don't know.
4 consecutive top 30 finishes.
Yeah.
Which,
Yes.
which is why you are in the top 15 in the Angler of the Year. Now, you haven't had like brutal years on it, like 69th, 64th, 41st, 55th, 59th, 43rd. You've been like one decent finish away from like 3 red crests, but still, still haven't cracked it. But for those who have been living under a rock, here's what happened. It went from 80 anglers for the first 6 years. Then this year they cut the field to the top 65 anglers through some finagling. It's changed a little bit, but I think it's working really well this year with the 65. Next year they're going to reduce the field down to 50, from my understanding. So there was a little bit of a cushion there. It was a cut. We've done whole shows as to why. Wheeler was on for a whole show last year that kind of explained a little bit of it. Anglers have had some input that allowed it to not just go from 80 to 50 this year. So this is kind of a transition year. Now with those finishes, and I'm not a mathematician, But you go into this year and you just said you're not ready to pull a skeet 2 in and say, hey man, I'm designing stuff, I'm staying in the industry, but I'm spending time at home and I'm going to step away. Like you're still full steam ahead. Do you know where you stand? Do you know what you have to do? And is this a crucial year in the career of Dean Rojas?
It is, but it's like if it happens, like if I don't make it, then I'm cool with it too, because then I don't deserve to be there. Okay. But I feel great right now. Like I went through like the last 5-6 years. I had some health issues and stuff that were just not real good, you know, and that's all cleared up. It cleared up about 1.5 years ago is when it started, when I got right. And so like even last year, you know, I almost beat Jacob at Santee. He beat me by 2 pounds in the final round by 1 fish. Look, it's there. I mean, I know it's there, and I know that I can compete against those guys. I've won on the tour before. With all catchway, all of them, and I've won on the 5 fish. So I know in my heart that I can do it. And I look at those guys, and I look at it, as pure respect, but knowing that I have to beat them, and I know I can. Look, I battled Kevin Van Dam for my whole career. Okay, of the 20-something years I fished bass. I mean, it was just every tournament. That was the guy. That was the guy I was trying to beat. And he beat me like a drum, but then I get a couple shots in there, but I do well. And I always nudged him or did something. And the funniest things that I ever do when he would ever in the mornings and stuff, I would tell his marshal or his co-angler, I said, throughout the day, if Kevin doesn't catch a bass, tell him he needs to quit and retire because he's lost it. So that's all. And Kevin would get so mad at me when I'd say that to him. Of course, and then you get him mad, and then all of a sudden he catches 28 pounds and smokes the field. So, but typical Van Dam on all that. But that was my carrot. I mean, I was always gunning for that. And because of just Kevin Van Dam, I mean, just the aura, just about everything about him. He wants to beat you to the ramp. Okay, in the morning, he wants to beat you to get fuel, and he can always do it bigger and better than you all the time. It's just being around that. Now with him gone, there's really nobody there. I mean, it's more of we have Jacob and we have Connell, different era, different type of things that's going on, the changes, and so is Wheeler really good? Absolutely, and savvy and instinctual like Kevin. Always on the move, always moving. You have to be that way. And so I watched that, but the intensity was always about Kevin because Kevin was just a different person. Mm-hmm. But both of them absolute phenomenal fishermen. And I'm I want to keep fishing against Jacob Wheeler. Every tournament I try to beat him. And that's my carrot now, that's the guy. And I got close last year, and I got to pick my battles, because he's really good at the, at the sonar stuff, the forward facing stuff. And, for us, it's challenging at times, because you remember how you used to do it. And it's so hard to reset, what used to work and all that, stuff. So with this year, with it opening it up to having 1 period of forward facing sonar and then the 2 of regular fishing, really opened it up. Even last year, I missed Red Crest by 1 point, and I had a bomb at Chowan River. I caught 1 bass in 2 days of fishing. It was the most horrible experience I've had in a long time. Being so close. I was in there. I was in 20th, in the AOY, and I dropped all the way out, and that was it. And I missed the cut, and that was during the whole thing when everything was changing, and I got back, and I knew when it went to the, I requalified. For this year, and I knew I made it a goal right at the beginning of the year. This is it. I'm going to focus and do everything I can, and and fish like I used to, and I've always have. It's just like this year. Big fish are just coming in the boat. I've lost a lot of big fish over the last 3 or 4 years, and you hate to say that, but it's so pivotal because it changes the dynamic of where you're at and where you're, your attitude and everything. It's just, you get the bites and you can't capitalize on them. And people don't see that. They don't know. They just see the rat. And you're like, man, you sucked. And you're like, damn dude, I had the bikes, I had them on, they just come off, and
Yeah.
or whatever happens, and stuff. It's just part of what we do.
Yeah.
But this year, it's rolling, Matt. It's like every tournament I catch a 5 or 6 pounder, and then 6 days ago, I caught a 9.6, and that's a story in itself. I mean, but when stuff like that happens, I feel it. I feel it here. It's the momentum. It's rolling. It's going right now. And so it gets me more excited, and now knowing that, I'm there where I need to be, where I always want to be, and where I know I can be there, and then obviously I got to be in the top 10 in the AOY, after the qualifications on how they do things. And so,
wait a second. So
to
make it to the top 50, you have to finish top 10 in the Angler of the Year.
No. So what they do is they take the top 35 places, okay, in your rolling average of finishes, okay, year-end finishes, and they average that out. Well, I don't qualify. You just read the list, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm way down there, okay, for my average. But they have an option where the top 10 who do not make it in the 35 in the AOY, those top 10 guys get to move on as well. So you could have a really good year or 2 years for last year was a good year, and this year. So all of that is moving towards requalifying for the top 50. And growing up in the age of the Elite 50 with the Bassmasters, it was the rock star events. And Matt, you were there, you saw it. I mean, it was just amazing.
The E50s were a little bit before my time. But I came in 2007.
I just remember you running around.
I followed it, but that was 2007.
Yeah, that was before your time.
Yeah. A little bit before my time. So where do you have to finish then? That's my question. Do you know what you have to do to make the top 50? If I finish in X place, I'm good to go.
Yeah, so they have the list of the guys who are already in for their yearly average, and then you have the top 10, okay? And so it goes off of the AOY. So Jake Lawrence and Colby Miller, these are their 2 rookies this year.
Yep.
So they have to finish in that top 10 range to make it, for next year. So Jake is leading it, Lawrence. Colby Miller is in second, and then I'm in third. So, and then you look at that and you go all the way back to 10th. Now, 10th place could be a guy who's in 50th.
This is the top 10 of the guys who aren't
in the 35 of the career average.
That makes sense. So you just keep catching them and you're in the 50 then.
Yep.
So how does the 50 work then? Is it a 1 year or 2 year then, or does everything reset once you get to the 50 next year?
So once you get there, then the 45 stay. The bottom 5 leave.
And then the bottom 5 go out, and it goes back to the invitationals, and now you've got a rolling deal.
Right. Yes. So that's the key, is to get there to the 50. Because once I'm there, I'm there. I'm there. I just got to get there. And it's so important. And the focus is there. It's been there. And I want to make that deal. So, because I know, a 50-man field, it's like a Red Crest or a Classic all the time. You know how it just, you got to be on it. These are the hammers, and that's where I want to be. I want to fish against the best. And
did you did you completely change up your color scheme this year, Dino? You've always had red, and then you've been mixing in a little bit of white and stuff, but you kind of came out gray and black this year.
Well, last year too, Matt. It's been the second year, and this is from Suzuki. So 2 years ago, they launched the 250 stealth motor, which is the
so that matches finish. The motor, so that's that finish.
Right. And it's been cool because Power Pole, they came out the same year with their matte black finished power poles, which were a limited edition. So you have the Suzuki 250 stealth motor, then you have the matte black poles back there, and then they go, we want to do a wrap with a honeycomb and stealth look, and I'm like, heck, whatever you guys want to do. And it's been a huge hit for Suzuki. They are they are growing, and it's so exciting to see. And there's nothing greater than being with a company on the move and growing. I went through that whole thing with Yamaha when they first started. When everybody hated them, the Bass wouldn't let them. It was a mess back then, because of what was going on. And then watching them progress, and so I with the Suzuki, it's the same thing. They're growing and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a fantastic motor. I mean, it's just awesome. And we don't even have a service crew. Okay, we've got one guy a tech that comes by, and like at last event, I hit a stump. I bent my prop shaft, and so I carry an extra gear case. So we just threw the other one back on again, and off I went. And then he'll change out the prop shaft, and I'll get it back in Kentucky Lake at the next event. So it's stuff like that but the engine just runs. I mean, you don't do anything. You just put fuel in it and go. I mean, it's and those motors are they're built for thousands of hours. I mean, it's a commercial grade motor. Okay, so when you buy one of those things, it's just going to run and run and run and run and run and run and run. And we put little machine, Austin's little boat. He has a little 35 Suzuki or 60 Suzuki on there, and man, we're constantly going through backwaters and through mud and tules and that thing. It's just you could dig a trench with that thing. But it still goes, man, and it goes, and we just use it all the time, and he uses it all the time, and he's had that motor for 5 years now, and it's just been awesome, just awesome. So great
Are you
product.
Still helping design a bunch of stuff for Epic and stuff?
Yes, yeah, we have spinner baits and we have jigs as well, and then obviously Spro. We've got some new colors coming out. We'll be we're going to be looking at that at ICAST, and then just doing the whole deal, man. These are great brands. I mean, been with them for so long. Sunline, been for 15 years through the Gander years, and Spro and Epic's been great. And Brian, they're just good people, man. And that's what it's about for me is the relationships in the industry, which we love. Being around and just it's about the people as well. And look, I'm very fortunate, to have what I have and to be able to live my dream.
Have you messed around with the Crank FC yet? I love that stuff, Dean. The Sunline?
I have.
I know
okay.
I know you are hey, this has worked and has continued to work. You're not a line experimenter. I'm a huge fan of the Crank FC. On jerk baits, 10-pound Crank FC on a jerk bait is mind blowing. The only reason, I'm just not casting it where big fish can eat it, but I'm casting it beautifully. Just not at the right.
It's super smooth. I mean, it's yeah. And the PI on stuff that they put on the lines now is just amazing. How fast, it actually burns my thumb at times if it's dry because it's the heat is building up on it and stuff, just making those long casts and stuff. But I'm an FC sniper guy. I mean, that's all I do, and shooter. And so I know all the limitations of all the lines, through and I probably use 7-pound sniper more than anything else. I mean, I use
7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7-pound FC sniper.
Wow.
On all my spinning.
Why so light?
It's to get bites. That's the whole thing. It's just finesse and stuff. And I use.
You're
a
straight fluoro too, aren't you? You don't back it. You're not a braid guy. I think if you are you still. You put 150 yards of 7-pound test on your rod and go to town. There's no one else that does that. You probably are the only person on the Bass Pro Tour that goes straight fluoro on your spinning stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do. I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I use the braid and I get all that, but I don't have time to retie the knot. When you break your leader off, And look, it's just me, okay? And I've had failures where you break the line on the knot. And I'm and this is me, okay? It's just me. All those years of fishing out here on the West Coast and how many fish I've caught on 5- and 6-pound line back in the day, okay? And 7-pound. I never had that problem. I always was clear. I knew that the line from the spool to my hook, where it was tied, is 100%. And so, there's nothing in between that could cause a problem because I'm always about percentage purposes. There it is right there. See the reel? It's all straight fluoro. So, and at that tournament, I would spool brand new 7-pound every night. When I do the one rod that I use all day long, just because I just want it to be fresh. I mean, at this level, every fish is so important, and Sunline's such a great brand and a great company, and they provide me with what I need. I use it, because I want to be at 100% when I go out there. Everything has to be there, for me to be successful. on doing that.
You don't have line
but
twist.
Yeah, straight
stuff?
fluoro.
How do you reduce that? Everyone wants to know that. Trouble with line twist running off fluoro.
Okay. So what I do, this is what I do. So when I spool it on there, okay, it's wanting to twist as I'm winding it, onto the reel, right? So once I clip it off, I get the right amount on there. I clip it off, and then I go out in the yard or go out in preferably in grass, okay? So I'll start back and forth, opening the spool up and just, like a fly fisherman would, and like feeding line. Next thing I know, this line's going back and forth, and then I'll let it, if it's grass, I'll let it in the grass, okay? Preferably not on the street, or in the rocks because it might nick it. But I'll just go back and forth, and I'm walking the whole time. So what it's doing, it's taking all the line twist out, okay? So yeah, I look like an idiot, okay, walking in the lawn, freaking throwing a fishing rod, out, but I'm straightening my line out, and I can take off about 100 feet of it, and I know it's going to be no line twist, just smooth. So it gets it's just perfect. So
could you do a how-to video
I know
on that,
it's different, but
I would like to see a how-to video on that. Lincoln said, "I bet Dean's neighbors thinks he's nutty."
Well, I got a big garage, so I do it in the garage. But when I'm at a house or wherever I'm at, I have to be creative when it comes to that and stuff. So, but it's funny because it's like people are like, "You're not going to catch any fish in the lawn." I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm just stretching out my line." So it's one extra step that I have to go through, but there's nothing better than putting brand new FC Sniper Sunline on your reel, and you just see it glistening. It's just perfect. It's beautiful. And it's smooth. There's no kinks. It's just like butter. It's so nice.
How much time have you spent with braided line on a spinning rod? Like in your whole career, have you ever actually put it on there for a month?
Yeah, I have.
And you think it's just like you said that? When do you think do you think there is a time when straight fluoro gets you more bites than a 10-pound Overwatch to a 10-foot section of 7-pound FC shooter?
It's
just strictly comfortable confidence in what you like.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
It's here. It's your head. Because I'll never forget it. I had his name there for a second. Jeff Crete. Okay, Jeff. Crete, I'll never forget this quote he said, and because he was a finesse guy too, threw 6-pound all the time, and I'll never forget it. We were doing I think it was one of the writers' conferences we were doing, and he got to talking about the braid stuff, and he goes, I'm done with the braid. He goes, I'll buy. This is back then. I'm like, damn, already, and he goes, look, dude, I think the fish see it. Okay, I think they do, and because Jeff's kind of out there, which makes him so entertaining to listen to Tom talk.
Now
but it's so funny because yeah, I know. So he's just like, and he would talk about it. He goes, man, I used to catch so many dang fish on 6-pound. I never had to tie a knot, and I never break off, and he just go on and on. And he went back to it and started catching them again. He goes, hell with that braid stuff, and like I was always doing it anyways. I just and look, Austin Little Machine, he does it. He'll do it. And then now he's back. He's throwing all fluorocarbon now, because he's broke a couple fish off, and it's just like, and look, it happens. It's going through the guides. If you have a bad guide, okay, you have a crack or something, that knot it's hitting that sucker every time, and it's just one more area that I believe, okay, it's not for everybody, but it's one more chance for failure. And now you're not at 100%, you're at, you say 95% or 90%. But when it comes right down to it, if you lose a fish because of it, it costs you thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, in a level where I'm at. So, and even the club level. I mean, you guys know. I mean, it's just you got to give yourself a chance, to have the right stuff there, to be successful.
It's funny because I get looked down upon by a lot of the spinning rod aficionados because I still do a uni to uni to tie my leader on. And literally, I've seen some heavy judging that I don't have a perfectly woven FG knot going through the eyes of my son. But you've always been a spinning rod guy. You've never been afraid to throw a spinning rod. I mean, I know you're known as a lot of power fishing stuff, but I mean, even when it was out of fashion on the Elite Series in the early days, you would always have you'd always have a couple spinning rods rigged, and like Kelly would make fun of you and things like that. But I mean, it's always been a part of your arsenal as long as I've known you.
Yeah. So like I want to catch them power fishing. Okay. We all want to. It's fun, you know, and you can put the hammer down on them. But there are times where like that's not what they want. I mean, and you got to adjust, otherwise you're going to die. And like when I went through that whole frog process, and you saw it, Matt, you saw it firsthand. You know, when doing the frog thing and going everywhere and everything, and I was just trying to find the limitations of that bait, where and what, and learned everything that I could possibly about that bait and the timing. But man, when you get away from just catching them and just focus on just one bait, it doesn't end well. I mean, it's bad. Okay, there was a lot of tournaments that I did really good at, and other ones I bombed. Okay, because I was so committed to it, because I was just trying to figure it all out. And then once I did, then you back up on it, and then obviously the spinning stuff comes in. But I would make fun of Aaron all the time, and little fairy wand, your sissy fishing, all that stuff, because that's all we did out here out west. And so, going back east, I want to power fish. I want to just power. And then when the frog thing came out, it was just like, man, this is right up my alley. It's right what I want to do. And then you cut the spinning rods get put up, but now it's because of our format now. On Major League Fishing, it has become more and more important to embrace the spinning rod. I mean, you can still catch them power fishing, there's no doubt about it. But it's just, for me, it's easy to go back to a spinning rod, because I grew up doing that. And so, and that's, drop shot, shaky head, Ned rig. I mean, you can go on and on and on about it, Demiki rig, all that stuff. So it's the stuff that, I've learned, and like Austin, he's been like really. What's so cool about him is he's like trying new stuff, and then he'll go, Dad, check out this. You got to try this. So there's a couple baits that like on tour now I use now that I never would have used if he wouldn't have like showed me how to do it. And that's the beauty of youth, of just the open mind and wanting to try new things. I mean, I know it works. I know, the stuff, but sometimes, things are evolving. It's always evolving on baits and stuff. And just
does he want to be on the BPT? Like, I mean, he's had to see, Brett Byers Jr. and Marshall Robinson and Laker Howell, and obviously AJ Jr., but he's a veteran now. There's all that. I mean, I know that the little machine is very talented at fishing. Like, is he like, are we going to see two Rojas's on the BPT? Like, when's he fishing the invitationals, I guess, is my question, Dean.
No, I don't foresee that happening. No, because he sees what I have to go through, and my workload and the travel and just all that. And you got to have it. You got to have it here. I mean, it has to burn so bad inside here that you want it so bad. And he loves fishing. I mean, we're going to go today. After the show, we're going to go fishing. But like for him, he loves he's not me. So even though he's my son, but they're all different, and you got to have that eye of the tiger. You got to have the fight and the want, all that stuff to get in there. And he's not that way. He's so like nice, and people love him. I mean, it's just everybody. They don't ask about me or my other. They always ask about Little Machine or Austin. That's all they want to talk to is him. How's Austin doing? Well, he just he texts everybody, asking how they're doing. Just very kind and caring, and always worried about their feelings and how they feel. But dang it, dude, when we get in the boat together, he runs. I sit in the back. Okay, I let him go, dude. It's impressive to watch him to go. His mechanics are that good, but. You could have all that, but if you don't have it, in your heart and your mind of wanting to have goals and get to where you're at, it's not going to happen. He's 23 now.
Yeah.
And the industry's changing, Matt. It's changing. And so it's not what it used to be. So like the $200 deal, like we talked about, that's probably good money now. Again, it's shrinking. I mean, there's guys making good money. But it's getting. There's so many different circuits now. There's a lot of professionals, and there's the landscape with a lot of the companies. emerging, so it's shrinking. Back in the day, I mean, you had a lot of mom and pop companies that could, fund you, or, little bait deals here and there, not anymore. It's the conglomerates now that own it because of all the acquisitions.
A couple more questions, then I'll let you go. There's no question that we are seeing more and more century belts getting given out in 5-fish tournament formats. We still haven't seen, we've had 2 instances that I can remember over the past 15 years where I thought the 45-2 was in jeopardy. But you take into account the minnow and the scope and these young kids. Like, I mean, I just fished a deal last month. My buddy Austin had 43.5 on 5 in competition. Like, and I climbed up in his, I had 3 for 25 and thought I was doing something. And I climbed up in his boat before he weighed him in, no cameras or anything, and just looked at him because that's the closest I'll ever get. I mean, that's a satchel of bass, Dean. But
yeah,
that's a long-winded explanation to say this. Do you think that 45-2 is now more in jeopardy than it ever has been before? And if it gets beaten, is it in jeopardy with bedfish, or is it in jeopardy with scope or active target?
So,
like, do you think there's a better chance now than ever for someone to come in with 5 for 42? That's a real short answer question for a long answer.
Okay. So, like, you got to understand, this is top level professional where I broke the record at. Like, yeah. I'm not saying they can't. No,
I'm talking about top level. I'm talking about elite series. I'm talking about invitationals, 5 fish, because the BPT, you're safe there because it's every fish counts. You might have a guy who catches 5 8-pounders, but it's not going to be anything. It's just going to be, hey, look, if it had been this format, then this would have been the result, because the format changes how you fish. So really, in all honesty, here are I would take it at the invitationals, the opens, and the elite series. Those are the 3 trails that I would, if someone comes in with 5 for 45-2, that I would say, it's just me personally, Dean, that I would say that is the record.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, they're meant to be broken, and they keep knocking on the door, and they are. It's getting closer to it, but it's one thing to do it at the top level. I mean, if it's a Toyota series or an open, whatever it is, I mean, you got to understand that when I did it, was 150 guys. It wasn't like a small field, okay? I mean, it was a full field of that. And the timing was perfect, Matt. I mean, it was like, look, every lake in the country has a magical week. You know that. I mean, we're them big ones. It's time. It is going to happen this week.
Yeah, but there's more magical weeks now, Dean. I mean, look at you're seeing tons of 38s, 40, 41, 42s. I mean, you take a 20-year-old and a minnow and cold water, and that magical week is now a magical 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's it. Look, like I said, the records are meant to be broken, but it survived this long, and look, when you just mentioned about looking at them, I mean, that memory's burned in my memory. I mean, I had all 5 of them in that live well.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a gallon of water in there. It was just backs and eyeballs, and heads, and just green mass. Yeah. I mean, I caught that 9.6 last week, and I'm like, this was my 3rd best one out of my 45. I had 2 10s, and it was massive. I mean, it was just I hadn't caught a big fish like that in a while, and it just, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you just relive it again, and how big and how impressive the limit is. Look, any guy who catches in the 30s, the high 30s, man, just total respect, man. I mean, in the 40s, even better. I mean, it's probably gonna fall. I guess it is. I don't know. I mean, look, that 45-2, it's been good for me for, it'll be 25 years this January and stuff, on the anniversary. But other than that, it's made who I am as an angler. And even if it is broken, will there be an asterisk next to it because of the forward-facing sonar? Okay, like I watched each one of those 5 bass eat my white lizard.
Yeah,
I mean, I
well,
watched
so are
them eat
so are the
in
guys
front of me.
watching it on scope if it goes down on that.
No, like physically. No, like
they're physically watching it on the screen, just like you physically watched it in person.
Well, there wasn't no screen.
It's sight
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah, that's like Matt. That's like watching a football game on television and watching it in the stadium. Okay,
I hear you.
All
right,
you know what I mean?
Here's the next thing and the last thing, and then I'll let you go. We're right at an hour. It's been a fun hour. I just messing with you a little bit. Can you show us any secret frog colors that you're not supposed to? It's BTL, man. Like, give us a little peek, like something that you might get a call from Sid after, like, Dean, that you weren't supposed to show that color. There's got to be some frog colors. You've been come out with a bunch of awesome frog. Okay.
Just hold on one second.
Okay. While Dean does that, we're going to take our final break of the show. And when we come back, maybe some magical new frog colors that have never before been seen from Dean Rojas. It's BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this while Dean digs through the extensive tackle storage system in search of magic frogs.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water acres. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Breaks Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Breaks, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Breaks Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com. You'll be glad you did.
Beatdown is efficient.
Rock solid. 100% American made.
This thing is super tough. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere.
I've ran the Beatdown double stack from Florida all the way up to New York. And the one thing that I know is when I get to my fishing destination, I never have to worry about issues with my graph mount.
Your options are endless with these mounts, but they're steady, they're solid. These are the most reliable mounts on the market, and you can't go wrong with the Beatdown.
When you're ready to hit the water, Denali Fishing has you covered. Regardless of your skill level, from beginner all the way up to tournament pro, Denali has rods, reels, and tungsten to get the job done. Check them out at denalifishing.com.
All right, we're back. We've sent Dean Rojas on a quest through his extensive tackle storage system in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, to come back with some things that have never before been seen by the eyes of the common angler. I won't give you full screen there.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. What are we working with? The floor is yours. I mean, we're missing the top half of your head. There we go.
You got me? Okay. How's that?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay.
All right.
So like,
explain what this is. This is a BTL exclusive, right?
BTL exclusive. Going to show you some stuff that's kind of how it all started, and then where we're at today, and where we're going from here.
Okay.
So just a kind of a synopsis of that. But if you could see that right there, okay, I'm gonna take it out of the bag. This was the first prototype frog that we ever made. This is
other way.
the junior.
Other way.
You see that,
It's
Matt?
everything's opposite. It's like backing up a trailer. There you go.
Okay. So that was, the legs are gone and everything, but this was like one of the first ones. As you can see, the hook, the knobs were too short. They need to be a little bit longer. That was the small junior frog on that. But same, the profile was right. That was like a first run on that. And then the original bronze-eye 65 is right there too. Now this bait is, gosh, it's over 20 something years old. So
wow.
But this is the original prototype of what it looked like back then. Of course, the legs, they're all gone and everything on it as well. So just kind of give you a heads up on that, the 4-aught Gamakatsu hook and the weight and everything, and then the design that we did for it. So that's it right there. So a little bit of history there of where we started at. Again, this is stuff that you'd wait a month, to get this, where now you can have it in a day. Okay, the deal. So, but we're always trying to, we get a lot of requests, okay, on colors and stuff. So, and we always like to do like, cool names and stuff, and kind of give the frogs, an attitude, or just like something cool about them, to kind of separate them from everything. So, a lot of the stuff that we have, that we come out with sometimes don't make the grade, okay, on color wise. So I'm just going to show you a couple of them, and I'm going to show you this one right here. This is a beauty right here, and this one didn't make the cut. This we may come out with this next year.
Wait, so that was a color that was made, and then you're only doing 3 colors, so that was like option 4 or 5.
Yeah, because the other ones are really good sellers. It was the right call on this. So, but you're probably going to see this, coming up. It'll be in.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's awesome color. It's pink, and it's clear body. 3 color skirt legs on it all.
Orange, green, white, green head, translucent body, pink on the top for our iTunes listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, little cotton candy-ish.
Yeah, that's just different, and people love it. They just love the different colors and the different ways, and again, here's another one that didn't make it either. Okay, so this one's more of a translucent as well.
Morning dawn color, almost.
Morning dawn, exactly.
With a chartreuse belly, purple and chartreuse tails on it, a dark purple back that fades into a blue or a bluish iridescent purple. With what color's the belly on that?
Chartreuse.
With a chartreuse belly on it. Those are gorgeous. So potentially may see those in the future, but for now, this is the only place you'll see those. You can get in trouble for this. I was kind of joking. I didn't really want you to get in trouble.
I'm not going to get in trouble.
Okay.
We still.
I guess, you are Dean Rojas. If you want to show a frog, you show the damn frog. So that is looks like a Christmas nightmare.
It's a Christmas tree color. Again, didn't make the grade, but they make them, and we're always trying different things. Try color skirts, different strands to give it, more lifelike on that. But this is our poppin' frog. You can see the nose there; it's red, and then but it's more of a, it's a good bait. They'll catch them. It's one of those things.
Very bluegill spawny to me on that one.
Yes. And then we sell a lot of frogs overseas in Asia. Okay, so they go after the snakeheads there. Okay, so they love my frog there. So they create colors for snakeheads. It's wild, what they make, and they sell the heck out of them out there. Of course, snakeheads, they got teeth, so you only catch a couple on them, and they gotta, they cut them, and you can't fix them. They just sink, and you gotta get another one. So that one there, and then
looks like a bobber. Explain that one. It is as bright. It is a straight chartreuse highlighter yellow frog with a black skunk streak on the belly, white and yellow, not chartreuse skirt, and then on the back, little black confetti marks.
Yes,
but it is exceptionally.
Well, that's on the top of it, on the back of the bait, right there.
On the top, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and then this one too. Again, just wild. These are colors that I probably wouldn't.
That's a zebra color, is what I would call that. Zebra color,
yeah.
With the little light chartreuse on the belly.
And then the back.
But primarily, those are designed for snakeheads in Asia.
Yeah.
Apparently, they get pissed off at highlighter yellow stuff.
And so, like, here's another one here. So again, this one didn't make the grade as well.
Okay, that's a fire tiger.
So, yeah, there's no fire tiger frogs. So, like, we're always trying to do things, and people, like, they send the requests in on what colors they want, and like little machines, like he's designed a couple of them, and he comes up with a lot of the cool names for them and stuff. So, and the patterns on it and stuff is kind of what's cool. So he's involved in it too. They look forward to his drawings every year on color.
Didn't he do? Which ones has he done? Did he do Killer Whale or
no, he did Diamondback?
The Diamondback, the rattlesnake one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad right there. That's the one right there.
Yep.
I mean, it's like top 5 right now in sellers.
Easy. I mean, don't open your last one.
Oh no, I got much.
This was a joke, Dino.
No.
Because you can see it in the background. There's clearly more than one there.
You see him?
Yep.
See all the yellow there? Those are all frogs.
Yeah. You want people to have FOMO. Just show them a color of frog that they can't have, and all of a sudden you got people that are freaking out right now.
So
anyway,
that's
so
cool.
that was,
and then so he came up with the name, and then I fished. He had the initial drawing and the color scheme, and I cleaned it all up for him. But this has been just a home run for Spro and for him and for me. It's just been good. So we have it in the popper as well, and they just sell the heck out of them. It's just a nice.
I would assume that. I mean, it's no secret that there's been a massive shift in tackle sales over the last 2 to 4 years. I have had conversations with other people, though, that while not immune to it, a hollow-bodied frog targets a different demographic of angler, and therefore, regardless of what the hot trend or new thing is or electronics, you'll always have a very strong market for hollow-bodied frogs.
Yes.
Is that fair to say that people are still buying frogs?
Yeah, because you know how many farm ponds are in the United States? And people, they're always overgrown with grass and weeds, so it's a weedless bait. And look, it's everything's visual. So you see the fish come up and get it. And for us, for anybody, that is like instinctual. I mean, that is like total excitement. Just the anticipation of watching a bass come up and get it. It is the best. It's like watching a bobber. When you're bluegill fishing, watching the bobber go down. I mean, same thing on the frog. And that's why it captivates so many people. And it just, the love of fishing, of just making the cast and giving the bait life on the surface, and then watching, the bass come up and just eat it, so.
What were you holding that looked
like? Hey, I got one more
furry
thing I want to show you. This is cool. Yeah, so like, a friend of mine here in Havasu, his buddy made these, okay? And so what they are, it's a squirrel. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Or it's like a chipmunk. I mean, look at it. That's like real hair, dude.
What the hell?
Look at that. And it's super smooth.
How much does that weigh? That is creepy.
Probably like, I don't know, a half ounce.
Okay, so you could throw it on traditional bass gear. It's not like one of these.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
What the hell, Dean? How do you even fish that? Does
he
it
made
walk?
these things. You can do it, because once the hair gets wet, it's just like I mean, it's so cool, man.
It walks like a spook.
When you come out here, yeah. I mean, you can make it walk. I can make anything walk. It doesn't have to be a spook or not. I can make it walk. It's just a matter of how you move the rod and stuff. So, but that's cool. And then he made like 2 of them. So this one's a little bit bigger. Let's see.
Yeah, watch the hooks on that. Have you actually fished that?
No, I won't. I'm afraid to, because you can't. I mean, these are open hooks, like you can see here.
Yeah.
And so like you got to fish in open water. You can't fish around like tules and stuff, or grass. So, and I live out in the desert. We don't have squirrels and chipmunks out here. So we have chipmunks, but no squirrels and stuff. So, but that's cool. And then he made a small little rat too as well. You can see the tail there.
That drop it a little bit more. Yeah, those are some Alfred Hitchcock looking lures.
Look at them.
They're too realistic.
Yeah.
I'm not a rodent guy. Never been a rodent guy. Plastic worm tail. Is there a screw in there in the back? Little ears
right here coming out, popping out. Yeah. So they're cool, man. It's just, and I keep them around because it's so soft, dude. It's real hair. It's real, it's just, you just feel it. And you can see the skin where they skinned it right there.
Harvested off the head of Marty Stone.
Scalp them.
One of a kind.
So that's what I got. That's what's so cool. It's
I love it.
And like I have people who make me custom lures and stuff. Where's that one? I have one that hold on one sec. I gotta show you this. You'll like this one, Matt.
This is my rat that one of the listeners made. It's a really cool rat. I have put the worm in the tail. All right.
Yeah. So okay, well, we can end on this one, but this guy, he made this bait for me. He goes, Dean, this is a gift from me to you. I don't make a whole lot of them, but he made this square bill deal. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
It's like a skeleton. Look at that.
Is that
It's wild. And
that is fucking cool, Dean.
It is. And he custom made it, and it sits in the little box here that I have, and it's so cool, man. And I'm like, I haven't even thrown it yet, but it's just stuff people
you don't throw that one, Dino.
No, I know. So that's why it sits on the deal over, and I'm always looking at it, but you can see the the skeleton teeth here. I mean, obviously this comes from a dark place. You
say it's a crack.
So,
yeah, but those are cool one-offs, man.
Yeah.
Very cool one-offs.
Yeah, I know. But one last thing, and then we'll end on this, but one of the coolest things that somebody gave me a long time ago that I still have here in my fishing room, and I'm going to show it to you. So some guy.
Oh, God, I totally forgot about that.
Long time ago. So, Matt, thank you.
It's some crazy super fan.
Logo. I know.
I forgot about that. Takes me back to my old woodworking days. I think I probably did that in the old shop when I went home for Christmas one year. I totally forgot doing that. But I mean, that's how I paid for all of my fishing and stuff. I had a scroll saw business called Custom Woodcuts when I was younger. It started with 4-H projects, and then I turned it into a lucrative entrepreneurship. I bought a boat with it. My dad had to put a tow package and hitch on the Chrysler Town and Country because I bought a 78 Ranger with that money, and then cut that out using an RBI Hawk scroll saw and a 5R blade, and then used the dual adhesive just on some Baltic birch plywood there, and then routed a base on it. I totally forgot that.
Yeah, I remember when you gave it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was so taken by that. I was like, man, thank you. This was, I think this was Oneida type thing. I picture.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I
keep it. It's right on top of here.
2008, 2009.
Yeah. So he sits next to Yoda up there with me. So Yoda's up there, and I got all my other cool frog stuff up there.
Don't drop it. What's it say on the bottom?
I got to show you one more thing.
Don't drop that. That's a one-off. I don't know if I'm still talented enough to cut that.
Because the guy doesn't make it anymore,
Yeah.
So
you're SOL on that. Oh, nice.
So a guy made this for me, King Daddy Crib, right? Because he about the frog, King Daddy is the deal. So like when you open it up, there's the King Daddy.
Oh, that's cool. With the moss on the back and the box.
Yeah, I know everything. So it's so cool, the gifts that I get, and they're so neat, because somebody spent the time, to build it, and he burned it in there, like kind of like the woodworking stuff that you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so it stays up there too, all my little trinkets and stuff that I get from people, and it's just so cool, man. So King Daddy's crib, he's the king. So it's a cool deal. So between squirrels, rodents, cribs, and dark places.
No, that was I said if you got anything cool since you're home. And listen, folks, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Is that still a appropriate phrase, letting the cat out of the bag, or in 2025, are we allowed to say that? I think we're allowed to say that still. But everyone's saying, oh, show us all of Dean's other stuff. Like, I think hopefully, if it all comes to fruition, there'll be an opportunity where within the next year, where you're able to show
You need
off.
to come out and catch them reddeers, Matt.
That's the plan. Like I just told you, I told you I'm doing CTL. I've announced that Crappie Talk Live that starts in October. But I mean, I feel like with those red ear as part of the panfish family, that would be an excellent offshoot to come out and, another phrase, kill two birds with one stone.
Dude, your best 5 will be like 16 or 17 pounds of red ear.
Yeah, no, we're doing it. Just
monster.
I caught my first 3-pound crappie this past winter. It was a 308 that I caught out of Oklahoma on a scale. So I'm getting a replica done of that. And then I'm a big panfish guy, so I need to get whatever you would deem replica worthy. I know it's not when you walk into that tackle shop, those things that look like, they look like triple tail. It's unbelievable.
Those are 6-pounders.
Yeah, 6-pound red ears. I don't know if we can accomplish that, but anything over 2.5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We can do that. No problem, man. It's the big ones. It's hard.
Have you ever hooked one of those megalodons?
Yeah, my
like
biggest
a 4.5, 5. Oh god,
no, 490 is my big one.
490.
Yeah, a 490. I couldn't believe it, and it was so big. It's
on hair, on a jig.
Yeah, I caught it in like about 25 feet of water. Those big
on
ones.
That little spro jig.
Mm-hmm. Little fly, the fat fly.
Yep.
And but I go shocking with the Game and Fish out here in Arizona, so I help them. Every November I go out with them, and they shocked up a 495, and I scooped it up in the net. It was just massive, and I have the picture, but it's like both my hands, and it's just like covered. It's just they're so thick. It's just meat, and they're not real long. They're like 15 inches, 14 inches long. But they're just super thick, and they don't even look right. How you see those big ones out here in California when they eat all the trout and everything. They're just big.
Here,
everywhere.
I've got it right here. Can I show it? You sent it to me. Here, I'll switch it.
Yes.
Make it big.
That's it. That's a 495. Okay.
Look at that.
That was at night when we were shocking them. And that was the one I got. And there was one that was bigger that just when they shock them,
yeah,
a lot of times they'll move off, and that one moved off, and this one floated. And I'm like, oh god, that other one was bigger. That thing was well over 5 pounds.
Picture of the one in the shop.
Yeah. Yep. That's a 6-pounder there.
All right.
The bellies are just massive.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. That'll be awesome. We gotta wrap it up, Dino.
Yeah.
I damn near totaled the truck yesterday. I've experienced the joys of hydroplaning for the first time in my life, going 70 on a I-40, and that resulted in me going into the median in the ditch at a high rate of speed, and then going sideways, and then like those dividers with the steel cable that go through it, that I don't know what they're supposed to do, but it was like do, and then I came back, so I've got damage from the front to the back, and have to do the whole insurance thing today, and it's a real bummer. But that's life.
It happens, man.
I've never hydroplaned
thousands
before.
Of miles I drive.
It's the wildest. So I drove 3,600 miles in 11 days, and I get back home, and I'm going to run an errand 11 miles away, and I send the thing into the median at. It is what it is, though. So.
Oh, it's just life, Matt.
But I got lucky because I 360 back across the entire interstate. I have no idea what was behind me, and airbags didn't go off, none of that stuff. So we just a bunch of crap to deal with. I'll tell you what, though, you don't get that type of adrenaline rush very often. That was a different. I've only experienced that 2 or 3 times in my life, and it is not the good type of adrenaline rush.
No, it's not.
I was on
It's
the phone with Frank
it's
Scalish, and I said, crap. And I just remember saying it super calm. I said, crap. And then, Frank, Frank, what the hell was that, Matt? And I said, that was me totaling my truck. And he's like, what? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what? He goes, just now? And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I'm driving. He's like, bro, you're in shock. Yeah,
I can imagine saying that too.
It could have been so much worse. That's why,
bro, you're in shock.
Yeah, you're in shock, dude. Send me pictures.
Yeah.
All right, Dino, I'll let you go.
Show today, so
I know you said, "Hey, don't keep me for 2 hours," and now we're an hour and 26 minutes in. So you and the little machine have fun.
Yeah,
See ya.
I know. It's fun.
Later,
Okay,
Dino.
All right, thanks.
The one and only Dean Rojas. That was cool. I'd never seen those color frogs either. So tomorrow, big show tomorrow. I also went out, and this is just like the little things. Like I was like, okay, this is my week to get everything back together after I'd been in South Carolina, after I've been at that St. Jude tournament. I've got some time. We're doing engagement pictures next Tuesday for one of them, and then I'm gone for another. Anyway, and so then I go out this morning because I never had any warning lights come on, nothing, anything. And I'm working on getting everything submitted and all that. And for some odd reason, I must have clipped something, did something, because I went over a lot of steel and metal and stuff, but the running board on that knocked a lot of it over. It's big 2500 HD, and the thing's completely dead. So I have no idea. And it's a battery's less than a year old in it, and so there's something that had to have happened underneath it. So then I threw the charger on it. I did learn that if you have a key fob on a new one, court was like, hey, that that comes apart and there's a key in there, an actual key, because I thought I just had the remote. So I ended up having to try to jump it and stuff. So I don't know what's going on underneath there, but that's neither here nor there. I think we've had two really good shows in a row. Like I said, if you haven't gone back and listened to the Jake Loris, Jacob Wheeler show, that was one of my favorite shows of the year. I was shocked that I was able to pull it off. Great appreciation for Jake coming on the show while he's practicing for the Invitational. Also, I know Dean, he didn't really mention this, but he just got back in town. He had been gone for 14, 15 days. It's 6:30 in the morning there. He's got people staying at his house for him to take the time and effort to set everything up, to come on BTL, to give us an hour and a half of his time, to share some of the secret stuff. Really appreciate that, and really appreciate all the guys. So follow the One Bass stuff. The first day of the tournament, I think, is today out there on Havasu, and then also Lake Fork starts tomorrow. We did do an Open Pros Pick'em. That happened last night. I was not in top form. I will just tell you that. But there is an Open Pros Pick'em from Andrew Upshaw there. And then also, I don't want to give it away, but I'm going to be a guest beverage reviewer. I'm really looking forward to this. And once it's out, it'll be fun. So, all right, that's all we got for today. Tomorrow, day 4, number 200 with Frank Scalish. If you are watching live, Frank will be giving away to one of our live listeners tomorrow a $500 shopping spree to lurenet.com. All you have to do is do it. It is a code that we just email you. So there is nothing that actually comes through the mail. You have it. You'll do it. I'm not exactly sure how we're giving it away, but a $500 courtesy of LureNet and Pradco on show number 200. We have some special guests that are coming on for that. Frank's going to do some educational stuff. We're going to tell stories. We're basically going to have a big, giant party to celebrate show number 200 with Frank Scalish. But yeah. Thanks, Dean. That was a killer show. Straight from the Dean Rojas Frog Complex in Lake Havasu City. We'll talk to everyone tomorrow, same place, same time, show number 200 with Frank Scalish. Later.